congratulations on the film.
Thank you. I don't know.
The Goonies.
I do know the Goonies.
Yeah, that's us. Anyway, congratulations.
A lot of Spike Milligan, so we can't go down that rabbit hole.
Cue the series. Anyway, that will be a rabbit hole for another day. Congratulations on this.
Thank you.
This is obviously not a TED talk. It's very much one man's story of the way to address divorce. What's
more jokes than a TED talk, I would like to think.
Yeah, definitely. What for you was it like trying to get the beats right in this? Because obviously you have kind of like a period of time that you're trying to fill, and to ensure that it maintains the momentum all the way through. Was that something that was coming through the writing or more the acting?
I would say the writing relatively early on had a stable structure for the whole film, but really the rhythms and the pace of the film, that comes from not just the way it was directed, but the way the director then edited it. It was like meticulous in finding out, in discovering the film, as throughout the editing process. So not trying to force it to become the film that was in the script, but respecting, what the film was telling him to make. Does that sounds? Were you after pretentious or? I
like philosophical.
And so, so I would say like the broad structure remained the same, but like the rhythms and the pace and the that was a task right through to the end, to make sure that it did build and that it didn't sort of repeat itself. And that's like surgery. I mean, surgery is probably more important.
Maybe knee surgery, not brain surgery. Knees are still important.
Knee surgery on an older person who's had a good life, as opposed to. Yes.
But when I was thinking about it, while people think London and New York are big cities, actually maybe the energy of New York comedy suits Liverpool more than London comedy would have.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think it might actually have been in sort of Manchester. I know John is obviously from Liverpool, but he might have been in Manchester when he first went up on stage, which is a tough place for a Liverpudlian to go, I would suggest. But that comedy scene, I think one of the things I really like about the film, because it was nothing to do with me, is the way that New York comedy scene was captured. It's simple, but it's like, hey, where do we film this? Let's film this in the comedy club, and let's use those real comedians and deal with the odd space and geography of that room. And I feel like that the energy of those sort of stand-up nights really, that's one thing I really enjoy in the film.
And it has that kind of perfect balance of comedy plus emotional pain, because obviously the circumstances of the divorce are what spurred it on in the first place.
Yeah.
So writing both, was that a pleasant thing, or did you feel like you were doing a balancing act?
No, it's good. I mean, there's, were it not for terrible emotional pain, there would be no comedy, right? I wrote it with Will in the first instance, and he was going to play the guy. So that sort of helped, especially with the stand-up. But then, Bridey comes on board and just takes it to a new level. And he's like, okay, Will, let's take this material into the comedy clubs and see how it really does. And I'm like, okay, well, let me know how it goes. And it was great. I mean, he's like wonderfully funny, obviously, Will, and there would be times where he would take that material up and it would just kill. And he'd be like, you know what, I'm doing the wrong thing. Next day, same material, absolutely bombs. Absolutely bombs. And, it's like, that's a balancing act to work in the film, is that he's not a great stand-up comedian. Our character, John Bishop, obviously, he became what he is today. But for Alex, the character in this film, it's not so much the story of how he became a great stand-up, it's how doing stand-up helped him figure out problems in his relationship. And, you know, he's not the best stand-up in the film. He has his moments, but he's not like, you know.
Well, it's a fantastically relatable film and a great story, so congratulations again. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!